Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Nafi Muazzim. Today this is my presentation video about subject that I take. It is commercial law. My name is Muhammad Nafi Muazzim. I am 20 years old and I am from Sekamat Johor. Now I'm studying at UniKL Business School at Datuk Keramat, Kuala Lumpur. This is my assignment and I want to thank to my lecturer, which is Dr. Muhammad Syahril bin Hashim, that always guide me for this assignment. I also wanted to thank all of my friends and family who are support me while doing this presentation. This is my project overview. My project is about fraud in law of tort. The law of tort is a branch of civil law that addresses civil wrongs committed by one individual or entity that cause harm or loss to another, for which the injured party can seek compensation or other remedies. My analysis is about John C.P. Goldberg, Benjamin C. Zipursky. From John C.P. Goldberg, Benjamin C. Zipursky. It is commonplace to observe that there are differences between private 10b 5 section and common law action for deceit, notwithstanding that both travel under the name of fraud. It is equally commonplace to suppose that these differences primarily reflect the need to adapt the law that was first developed in a world of face-to-face transaction to the modern reality to large scale. Dura pharmaceuticals. Respondent feel the securities fraud the action alleging that petitioners Dura Pharmaceuticals and some of its managers and directors made in inter alia mispresentation about future Food and Drug Administration approval of new asthmatic spray device, leading respondent to purchase Dura securities at an artificially inflated price. Also, my analysis is about fraud. I had 8 of it, but I think I will take 6 of it. The definition, I will take the definition of an importer of loss of caution, analysis of economic losses, complex nature of stock price movement, the factor of causation, legal precedents and common law principle, rejecting the 9th circuit approach. That's all for 6 things. The first one, definition and importer of loss caution. Justin Breyer, writing for the majority, clarified that loss caution is a fundamental element of securities fraud claims. Loss caution means there must be a direct and proximate link between the mispresentation by the defendant and the economic loss suffered by the plaintiff. This is by the plaintiff. And the next one, analysis of economic losses. The court pointed out that at the time of purchasing a security at an affiliated price, the investor does not immediately suffer an economic losses. This is because the value of security purchase is equivalent to the amount that paid. This complex nature of stock price movement. The court recognized the complexity of stock price movement, which are influenced by various factors, not just by the truth of the mispresentation being revealed. Factors such as the market trend, industry changes, and company-specific development can affect stock price also. The other factors must be the time factor and caution. Justin Breyer highlighted the significance of the time lapse between the purchase of the stock and the realization of the loss. He reasoned that there is no longer the time between this event, the more difficult it is to establish that the losses caused by the mispresentation as opposed to other intervening factors. The next one is legal precedent and law and common law principles. The opinion drew a parallel between securities fraud action and common law action for deceit and mispresentation. Historically, in common law, providing a claim receipt requires showing actual economic losses directly caused by the mispresentation. The court found that the principles should equally apply in security fraud cases. The next one is rejecting the Ninth Circuit approach. The court rejected the Ninth Circuit approach, which accepted the claims of loss quotient on the basis that the price was inflated at the time of purchase due to mispresentation. This approach was insufficient because it did not require a showing of a direct causal relationship between the mispresentation and the actual economic loss. The next one, definition and importance of loss quotients. Justin Breyer, writing for the majority, clarified that loss quotient is a fundamental element of securities fraud claims. Loss quotient means there must be a direct and proximate link between the mispresentation by the defendant and the economic loss suffered by the plaintiff. Analysis of economic. The last one is analysis of economic loss. The court pointed out that at the time purchasing a security at an inflated price, the investor does not immediately suffer an economic loss. This is because the value of security purchase is equivalent to the amount paid. My study cases is about Hasley versus British Engineering Ltd 2010, about fraudulent billing and mispresentation. These cases involve a small engineering company that had hired a large accounting firm to manage its finance and prepare financial statement. Over several years, employees at the accounting firm fabricated invoices and inflated labor costs to lash the company for services and expenses that were never incurred. The fraud was carried out with the aim of collecting extra fees for the accounting firm. The fraudulent activities is the accounting firm takes invoice for non-existent subcontract and inflated hourly rates for labor costs that were never worked. The firm accountants had deliberately manipulated the books. Impact of accounting practices, there is three: lack of verification, financial losses, and reputation damage. The lack of verification, the internal accounting team, relying on the external firm's figures, failed to verify the authenticity of the voices and bills. The practice of blindly trusting external auditors and accountants contributed to the fraud. The next one, financial loss. The company suffered significant financial losses due to the fraudulent billing, which eventually came to light after an internal investigation was launched by company new management team. The last one is reputation damage. The engineering company faced damage to its reputation and trust with stakeholders as they were misled by fraudulent financial reports prepared by their auditors. The outcomes and implications for these accounting practices. In this case, the accounting firm was found liable for fraudulent mispresentation and notorious interference for the company financial integrity. The company sued the firms for damages, and the court ruled in favor of the company. So, for the conclusion, based on these cases, the underscore of importance of honesty, integrity, and transparency in accounting practices. Fraudulent activity can cause legal consequences, including claims for damages under law of tort, fraudulent mispresentation of or negligence accounting practices, the legal outcomes. So, for the conclusion, these causes underscore the importance of honesty, integrity, and transparency in accounting practices. Fraudulent activities can cause significant financial harm to business and investors, and they often lead to mispresentation or negligence accounting practices. The legal outcomes of such cases that prompt significant changes in auditing practices, corporate governments and regulators oversight all designed to prevent future fraud and ensure the accuracy and reliability of financial. Conclusion for before, the Supreme Court decision in Dura Pharmaceuticals versus Bordeaux underline the importance of directly linking misrepresentation to actual economic loss and security fraud cases. This decision clarified the burden of plaintiffs to prove that their financial harm was a direct and proximate result of the defendant fraudulence, reinforcing the integrity of security litigation. That's all from me, Muhammad Hanafi Muazzin. Thank you.